Hey, what's going on, everybody? I already see Brian, Matt Waxer. We got the doctor in the house. We got Mike, Outlaw HVAC, Randy. What's up? Jason P. Was Jason? Yeah, Jason Johnson always showing up right on time. Who else? Maru, Neil, Dipley, and Jennifer was in here. I think she'll probably join us pretty soon. Isaiah, what's up? All right, so welcome to the Reliable HVACR podcast and live stream. So today we have another, awesome guest. You can find her on TikTok and Instagram under Ash X Kills. I'll leave her info in the description, and everywhere that you're watching this, I'll leave where you can find her. Please welcome Ashley Hall. How are you?
Hi, everyone. I am doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little tired. We've had a busy couple of months. Hopefully the weather just picked up or dropped here. Actually, I don't know how it is where you're at.
No, it's been so nice right now, so it's good.
It's nice. Well, that's good. Yeah, because we had a really I'm in Texas. I know you guys get like a heat wave over there too, and we had a bunch of them this summer.
Yes, we had like back to back. And it felt weird though, because I felt like last year it was like every so often it was like hot and like I couldn't even be outside. But then like this year it was just like, I think it just kept being hot that I was just like, oh, I'm so
Yes,
used to it now. Like, let's just go.
I know. It's like you're out there and you're like, I got to finish this call. It is what it is.
Yeah, but those night calls are nice. I love working night. I don't know. Something about like the sun going down and you being on the roof and it just like cooling
I
down
I
just feels
used
nice.
to I used to work a lot of nights because I do mostly refrigeration,
Mhm.
commercial. So those freezers and coolers, they go down in the middle of the night. You got to be out
You
there
gotta,
so
yeah.
the product won't go bad. So
But you're
I, I
always in the coolers and chillers, so it's always cold. So it's nice, isn't it?
when I love it when I get a walk-in cooler or freezer, but lately it's been all HVAC. It's all
Oh,
rooftop work, or if it is a walk-in, we're outside on the condenser. So
oh yeah.
it's been one of those years, just really hot, and then we're outside all the time. And then my maintenance just finished one of our maintenance agreements,
Mhm.
like right before the weather changed. It was like 105, 110, and then I finished those maintenance agreements, and then like boom, 80s. I think we got 70s now too. So
Oh yeah. You're like, why couldn't this be last week?
it would have been so amazing
Right?
earlier.
Like, can we just like
Uh,
schedule these towards the end of the year instead?
yeah, that customer scheduled it themselves, kind of, and I was like, you couldn't wait, another
All
month,
right.
but.
Sometimes those people, they just want to get it done.
Of course. I mean, that's a good customer. They're very on top of their maintenance. I can't argue with that. They get
No,
it
that
done.
is good. Yeah. Unlike the ones you get to, and it's just like, oh, the last time I got this service was when I broke 10 years ago. Like, oh, cool. Yeah.
I just want to thank Brian. Appreciate that. Wouldn't be a Tuesday without the live and his weekly super chat. I appreciate that, man. So yeah, and I've seen that from your like what you post. You've come across a lot of old units, a lot of worn down, dirty
Oh,
units.
yeah.
So you're used to that too.
Yes.
All right. So then you're from California, correct?
Yes, I am.
Were you? Is that where you've always been? Always lived? Did you move there?
Yes, I've always lived here. I
Oh, okay.
grew up and was born in LA, and I moved up to the high desert in like my teen years. So I've been up here for a while.
How is it there? Is it always hot? Like here in Texas, it's because I always ask people about the weather and stuff because
Yeah, no, you're
I'm so
good.
curious because like here it's AC season like 90% of the year.
Okay. We actually do get a nice cold front. So we kind of get the in between. So like we'll have like super summer and like 2 weeks of fall and then like super cold. And then again, like spring, we have like 2 weeks of spring and then like back into the heat season.
Oh, okay, you're in and out of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so for anybody that does not know who you are, I've found you over on TikTok. That's
Okay.
where I saw a lot of your posts. Doing, like I said, a lot of great work because you work on older equipment. I appreciate the people that actually do the repairs, do it
Instead
the
of
right
selling.
way. Yeah, instead of selling. I mean, I have nothing against.
wrong
Any-
with it.
but there are like there's a need for repairs and getting that stuff done too. And just because a unit is 20 years old, 15 years old, it doesn't mean it has to be replaced. Sometimes the
Yeah,
customer
no.
can't afford to. And
Yes.
I've seen a lot of your work. You work on a lot of old equipment. Like I said, I appreciate that because that's stuff that I work on. I work on like the oldest stuff around here, and they expect a miracle. They want it working.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. I've learned from older people. So, like, even if I had an ECM motor, he's taught me to work with relays and different mother or circuit boards to be able to make it work without an ECM motor and actually
Oh
put a
yes,
regular motor in. So, like, I've had it all. Like, if I can't get an ECM motor, I can make it work without one, or vice versa too.
and that's a mindset some people don't have, and I it's good to hear that. And that kind of might be a mix of old school ways of fixing things, but
Yeah.
it's a good way, or at least a good option, because you're not always going to have that ECM motor, or the parts house is not going to be open, and you got to work with what you have in the van.
Yeah.
uh, and you can make stuff work. I love mechanical stuff. I love
Mhm.
getting that equipment working over the weekend, overnight, whatever it is. And then it might be a permanent repair depending on the situation, but
Mhm.
uh you know especially nowadays, getting OEM parts is hard, it's expensive,
Yes, super
and
expensive.
it's getting kind of out of hand, if you ask me.
Yes, no, I just had a customer that her ECM motor went out on a train unit. So to even get it was like, I think, they told me like it was a 6-month wait. The part
Oh yeah, the
alone,
weight too, yes.
yes, the part alone was gonna cost me like $1,500. So can you imagine what I'd have to charge her to be able to like make my money back, plus like
Yeah.
the labor and everything to put in the motor? So I made it work with one of my local supply houses started carrying, I think it's like Azure. It's like a ECM motor replacement. So we actually got it to work with
Okay.
that. So I'll have to upload a video on doing that too, because it started raining on me and I was like trying to finish and hurry up and close it up. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get out of here.
Yeah, I carry a lot of universal stuff on my truck, just because it saves a day.
Yeah.
The equipment's down. I know some people don't like universal parts, but I'm okay with it as long as the specs are right.
Mhm.
uh, and you trust that, like you said, that brand or whatever it may be. And yeah, I appreciate the repairs. I love fixing stuff, and I actually don't like doing installs or uh, selling or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just have to do an install this week too. I just got a condenser to do. I was like, oh my gosh, why did I do that?
It's fun, but like like with me, like I'm thinking about the next call too. I'm like, I gotta make it to
Mhm.
these other calls, and I
I
like
can't put like half a day in this one to be
yeah,
able, yeah, to fit
I,
everything else in.
I just had one that I tried to squeeze in yesterday, and it ended up taking me the whole day because of all these other issues that come up, because you're trying to retrofit some of this stuff too. And it takes your day, and it's kind of hard. I'm used to, like,
Yeah.
running around and getting to the next call.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people talking and like I'm trying to like
Don't worry, we'll get to them.
Okay.
I love the chat. They get going, but
Yeah.
I get behind a lot too. So I'll get to them in a
Okay,
minute.
cool.
What kind of work do you do? Do you mostly do residential, or
I
do you do
mostly
any?
do residential. I do like commercial, mostly
Okay.
service, but I do installs too if I sell the service. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
So you do a little bit of everything. You can do.
Yeah.
Do you do anything with duct work?
Yes. I
Okay, because
replace, I
I
can
kind of
demo and replace a whole house in like 2 days if you need.
gotcha. Because I kind of took a backseat, but I'm being picky now. Just we run a business. I found my niche in
Hmm.
kitchen refrigeration,
Hmm.
so that's what I like to do, and that's what I'll do most of. I don't do a lot of duct work. I was taught all that stuff. I've done it before, but I don't like being in attics. I don't like doing that kind of stuff. So I mean, everybody's different.
Yeah. No, I'm really small and I fit in like the weird, like, where like the addicts like me at like the end. So like
Oh
they'll throw
yes,
me in there and they're like, yeah, go put this collar on. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm only gonna be itchy for the rest of the day. And I got like 2 more service
exactly.
calls after this.
uh, yeah. So okay, so you mostly do residential. You've done some commercial, you said, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a preference? Residential, commercial?
Oh, I know everyone's gonna be like, "It's all about commercial," because you don't deal with people, but, like, my residential is mostly, like, tenants, and, like, I just
Okay.
deal with, like, property management kinda thing, so I don't really deal with homeowners. So
That
that's
might be
where,
the
like,
that might be the way to go. Yeah.
yeah, so, like, I do residential and I love it because, like, I just ask the tenant, "Hey, what's going on?" "Oh, it's not blowing cold." "Okay, cool. That's all I need." "Alright, I'm gonna go do that," and I don't even have to talk to them about the price or anything. I get a hold of, like, the property management, like, get them to approve everything, and I'm good to go. So, it's been nice.
I've seen a lot of guys recently that I've talked to do the whole property management and uh, that kind of work that you're talking about, and it seems like a nice little area to be in.
Yes, because they keep you busy all year too, so it's
Yeah,
nice.
that's a good point. I'm
Yeah.
getting some of those now too, and they want a lot of work. They'll come at you, and it's kind of overwhelming sometimes. But
Mhm.
I mean, work is
Especially when
work.
it's, like, 50 apartments that you have to do at once. They're like, "We want these done in 3 days." I'm like, "Oh my
Oh
gosh,
yeah,
what?"
yeah. The one I had recently, he was actually like an ex classmate of mine, like somebody I went to high school with, and he found me because of the stuff that I post. He's like, "Oh, I saw
Mhm.
that you do AC," and but he deals with what are those called? Like those homes for old people. I can't remember the name right now, but
Like retirement homes
re-
or like the
kind of
rehab where
rehab.
they
Yeah, the rehab ones.
okay.
So he's in charge of a lot of that kind of stuff, and then
Mhm.
he's like, "Yeah, I know I called you last minute, but I needed the quote like yesterday, and it's like a whole bunch of units." I'm like, "All right, we'll get working on it."
I'm like, "I can give you, like, a quote right on the spot if you want a big number." Like, I can do that.
Yeah, because I work with my dad, so he looked at me and he's like, "Well, just tell him this. Like, if it's
Mhm.
if it's like a if it, he needs it now, just tell him, you
Mhm.
know, something that'll cover the whole thing. Because
Yeah.
the last
And
thing
then
you want to
later you
do
can
is
go less.
yes, because the last thing you want to do is undercharge because I've been there.
Yes. I think we all have, especially those that, like, pick up your own work. Because I know a lot of people work for companies that, like, they'll deal with the numbers and do everything, but,
Oh
like,
yeah.
when you're pricing your numbers and you underbid something and you're stuck there for 3 days and you're like, "What did I get myself into?"
Okay, I think I had asked you this before because like I said, I saw you on TikTok. I've seen you on Instagram. You have this really great outlook, positivity about your content and what you do at work, and I thought that was kind of cool. But I asked you one time. I was like, "Do you work for yourself or do you work for a company?" Because you kind of give off like that. You do your own, like you said, you
Think
get your own
yeah.
work, right?
Yes. So, yeah, I think you have asked me, like, oh gosh, a couple months ago now, no?
Probably. I was like, because I
Yeah.
had seen you and you were posting quite a bit, and I was like, do you work for somebody or are you just out on your own?"
So I work for my father-in-law, and
Okay.
so it's his company, but I can pull in whatever work I can, kinda thing.
Okay.
So, like, we both, like, pull in whatever we can, and, like, if we both need to be there for the job, then we'll both be there, but, if I pull something in and it's weird because I'm pretty sure because you work for your dad too, your pay bracket is different too. And
Yeah.
I know everyone always asks me, like, "How much do you make, hourly? How much do you, like, bring in? Like, what is this? What is that?" I'm like, "It's really hard to explain because I
Yes.
work on technically commission. Technically, like, I if I bring in a job, I get 50% of what I make. If he gives me
Okay.
something, I make 40% of what I do. And then it like sucks and doesn't suck because then I'm buying everything. Like I have to
Oh
stock my
yeah.
truck, I have to buy the condensers, I have to buy the whole system, I have to buy the ducting, and then I get reimbursed at the end of the week. But it's like putting that
Gotcha.
money up front too, aside
Yeah.
from my bills.
Yeah, that's a big part of I mean, you don't technically run the business, but you do run the business in a sense.
Yes. Yeah, so I'll answer the phone, everyone has my phone number, I do emails, I do my own invoices, I set my
Okay.
prices, so, like, yeah, pretty much I do everything just like an extended leg of him kinda thing.
Yeah, and that's why I was curious because I was like, you it seems like you do quite a bit of your for your job, and you basically are like running it in a
And
sense,
yeah.
and like people ask me all the time the same question about what do I get paid and this and that. I'm like, it's a little different for me. It's like we have a family business. I do get a paycheck. That's the way it works with us.
Mhm.
But I get access to,
More.
the money that comes in too.
Hmm.
So I mean, my paycheck is not great, honestly, but
But
like
your bonuses now.
I have bonuses, I have
Yeah.
benefits
Yeah.
depending on how much we make. So
Hmm.
that one's always a hard question, and
So technically, are you hourly? Like your paycheck shows hourly, or are you like a weekly paycheck kind of thing?
it's a weekly paycheck. My hours are not uh recorded, so to
Yeah.
speak. So yes, I mean that's what I tell people is like, because people ask me if they want to get into the trade, some
Hmm.
advice or if they should open up a business or how they should go about things. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not for everybody, but there is perks. I mean, I get to take time off when I need it. Like
Hmm.
if I really, really need it, I get to go to my kids' events. Little things like that
And you don't
mean a
have
lot.
to ask for time off or put in a
Yeah,
request. Like you're like, hey, pops, like I need this
yeah,
day off. Like and they're like, okay, yeah, you're good. Schedule your stuff for tomorrow.
yeah, and that means a lot to me. Or more so than having like the biggest paycheck ever, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody's different. So
Hmm.
it's cool to see that somebody kind of knows what I'm talking about now, because people are always like, what do you make? Like I
Yeah.
want to know how much you make.
So I'm right there with you. I make whatever I actually work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. However the business is doing is how much
How
you're gonna
much you're
make.
making. Yeah.
Gotcha. So father-in-law, so then did you learn on the job? Did you go to school for this? How did you get into the
So I
trade?
know everyone always asks, did you go to school? Did you learn? Where'd you learn? How'd you do? So I learned off him.
Okay.
I apprenticed with him for like what, 2 days, and he's just like, all right, go, go start doing stuff. I'm like, oh, thanks, cool. I'm like, what does this do? Why does
My
this
my dad
turn?
was my dad was the same way. Like I went to school for it, so I had a basic understanding. But
Oh, okay.
when I went to work for him, he kind of just like threw me in there, and he would disappear. He's
Yeah,
like,
right.
"You
He's just
figure
like,
it
figure
out."
it out. Yeah. I
Yes.
mean, and that is for some people the best way to learn. Some people are like, just throw me out there. I'm hands on
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like, I need to be able to touch it to like learn what I'm doing. And like, for me, I need to mess up to learn. And that's
Oh
just
yeah.
me. I know for some people, they're more like book savvy. Like, they need to know like exactly what does what to be able to like do something. But that's
Uh,
the main thing about this trade. I think it's like you have to be hands on.
yeah. I mean that's one of those overused statements, right? Hands on. We got to be experience is worth more, and that's true. I'm not a big textbook person. Like I went to school. I was pretty good at that aspect of it during that time because I really just wanted to finish it, honestly. And I'm not. I read manuals now. Try to get a better understanding and to get troubleshooting tips,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I'm in there, hands on. I tell people all the time I screwed up so much when I started, and I still, like I said, that install I had yesterday, I screwed up a couple times too. It happens.
Mhm.
Uh, and
But that's how you learn to be better. So,
that's how you learn. And I always tell people you're gonna learn from one of two ways, right? That little victory that you get when you do something the right way the first time, it works, something kicks on. After you did a repair, you're gonna remember that. You're also gonna remember all those times that you screwed up, and you're never gonna do that mistake again.
yeah.
Oh, we got Jennifer in here. I don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know.
I'll have to go back in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Um, so then your father-in-law. So your husband, is this a family business? Is your husband into it, or how does that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, he works for a different company, just him and his dad butt heads too much. So he's with another company, but like we'll do installs together, or if he's having a slow week, then he'll come with me kind of thing. But yeah.
Oh, so he doesn't work for his dad
Yes and no. When he has time
sometimes.
off. Yeah.
Okay.
He used to. He just switched off to another company like 3 months ago.
And that's another thing too, right? I run a family business. I know how that works. I know that I can't always be around them 24 like every day of the week. Um I
Working, eating with them, going out with
yeah,
them, like it's
I have
everything.
I have my dad that I work with, and I have my brother, and actually I have my uncle
Oh,
working with us now too.
yeah, they have their
So,
uncle too, so it's all
yes, it's a lot alike.
Mhm.
Uh so I see my dad. Well, I don't see them that often anymore, but we're okay. But it's my brother. He rides with me sometimes, and I'm like, dude, trying to focus. We have these little spats and stuff. So
Yeah.
I get that aspect. It's not just because it's family doesn't mean it's, the best situation or anything like that. So
Is your
uh,
brother like an actual service tech too?
yeah, he
Okay.
does. He's younger, so he gets stuck with all the work that I don't want. So he gets like the maintenance,
Yeah.
the hospital work. Sometimes I don't like doing those either. So he's in there. He does pretty good. But yeah, he gets the stuff that I don't want.
Oh, that's funny. I've been bringing my brother along since Shane, my husband, has been like working with the other company. So I bring my brother along,
Okay.
but he's more of like an office person. So him being in the field with me, he's just like, what are we doing? What are we? It's hot out. I'm like, yeah, I know. But he's been really nice. He'll carry my stuff for me and like carry the ladder and put it up for me. I'm like, oh, you're sweet. Like just because I'm giving you a paycheck.
Yes, and I have two brothers. I have two younger brothers. The one that works with us is actually the youngest one, so we're quite a bit apart on years. That's
Oh,
why
okay.
sometimes he gets to me, but
Yeah.
uh, the middle brother is like that, like you said. Like he works. What is it? He does like customer service and he does billing and other stuff. And
Okay.
he works here in Texas. We have HEB. He works at the HEB, but he's like higher up, and he's always been like an office type of
Person.
person,
Yeah.
a people person. He deals with customers all day. And then we try to take him to work. I think he lasted like a day or two,
It's
and
just
he's
like
like,
it's
"Nah,
too hot.
no, it's not for me. I don't like. What am I doing here?" So he was the one that wasn't into it. But my younger brother, he likes to work with his hands. He started like woodworking and all this other kind of stuff that he does around the house.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
naturally, this is something he wanted to do. So he's been good. Just I can't ride with him every day.
Yeah. I feel like you take your truck today. I'll do my thing.
Yeah, I love having, and I do commercial. I don't know how it is with residential. Like, I enjoy my drives. I have my music blasting. I have,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think about like what's going on for the day, calls coming up. So I like driving a lot. I
Yeah.
drive 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes an hour or so to a call, and I like my peace and quiet. So sometimes when I'm riding with somebody, I'm like,
I
tone it
like
down a
just
little
sit
bit.
down and like listen to the music, please.
Yes. So that's where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah, no, yeah, where I live and, like, versus, like, the town that I service, it's, like, a good, like I think yesterday it was, like, a 35-minute drive, so, like, I'm always like, it's a good stretch, and it's so funny that you say that because, like, I have people that are like, "How do you only do, like, 5 calls a day? Like, we have, like, 15." I'm like, "Yeah, because 'cause you're,
Yes.
like, in apartment A, B, and C. Like, that's 3 right there." Like, I have to, like, go to, like, section like, 1 and then, like, drive 20 minutes to another one and then another half hour, like,
Yes.
other way.
That's funny that you bring that up because that was another one that I got questioned on a lot, and
How many
I've
calls do
even
you do a
had
day?
I've even had arguments, in the comments whenever I do answer those, and it's like, we run like 10 to 15 calls, and I'm like, well, you're probably just like in and out, right? You just like, replace a cap, whatever it may be, and
Mhm.
then like the next call is probably like a few minutes down the road or something.
Yeah.
I do a lot of traveling for mine. I'm like, I'm good. Like I do commercial. We do, like you said, 4 calls, something like that in that range. Maybe even less sometimes. It depends on how far we're scheduled and stuff. But I make the money that I need for the day,
Yeah,
and
I don't need to run 10 calls.
I'm okay with it. Like I don't have to run, like you said, like
Yeah.
10, 20 calls or whatever
Like, I
people
can't
claim.
imagine. Yeah. That many, like, I assume you're there for, like, seriously 10 minutes at the most, like, going in, changing the cap, and even leaving without servicing, like, anything else. And, I mean, that's what
Yeah,
I'm just assuming, but I could be wrong because like, their drives are a lot shorter than mine. Because like, I'll schedule 4 or 5 calls at the most. I'll do 2 in the AM, 2 in the
yeah,
PM, and if I have time in the PM, I'll call, like, my next AM one and be like, "Hey, I have time, like, I can squeeze you in today." But, like, I like to give myself ample time because you never know if you're gonna have to change a blower.
no.
Uh, change you have to run to the supply house to pick something up that's, like that you don't have in your truck, like, something always happens, and it's, like, a good 20-30 minute drive to, like, back and forth.
Yeah, we have that issue too, and we've learned to space them out because I feel like every time you think it's an easy call, it's
It's
the
not.
worst. It's the
Yes.
worst. Like something comes up.
Yes.
So we've had that, and everybody in the chat now. I
Everyone's gonna
run
start.
I ran
Limit
2 calls today, 2 hours between the calls. Somebody else. I won. Jason. I run 1 to 3 calls.
Usually 2 a day, which
Let's
that's perfectly
see.
fine. And then you're there sitting with your customer, talking, making relationships with them. Like that's all about what it is too.
Well, Jason does chiller work, so that's a whole other thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. You need time.
Yeah.
8
Let's
calls
see.
today.
8 calls. Okay,
I
but
know the
they're in
whole
a
system.
3 block
See? Yeah.
radius.
So that's totally cool. You can still spend what 20, 15 minutes with everyone and still have time to run all those calls.
Yeah,
Calls.
that's the thing, right? Like, so do you enjoy that aspect too? Like talking with the customers and I don't know.
Yes.
That's a whole like customer service thing. I think.
Yeah. I everyone likes to talk to me too because they're like, "Oh, I didn't expect you to show up. I thought you were the office girl." I'm like, "Yeah, it's me showing up. I'm the one that's here." So they start asking me, "How'd you get into this? How long have you been doing this for?" All kinds of questions. So it's always nice to interact with everyone, even if they are tenants. They still like to know.
Yeah,
So I'll interact with everyone
that's something that I had to learn. I was not a people's person when I started. I was like, let me go in, do my work, collect my
and let me
check, and
go.
get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can't do that when you run a business. So I had to learn that kind of quick. But now I take the time. It doesn't take much.
No,
You can just ask them how their day is going, how's
that's all
business,
it takes.
and then ask about the equipment, and you have a conversation right there.
Mm-hmm. And look at you
Uh,
now, having people on here and hosting people. Like, so much for not a people person.
the the chat kind of
Uh,
muscled me into this. I
yeah.
I I, I was doing like Q&A type stuff, and they're like, we want to see this person, we want to see that person, and then like it is where it is now, and I really enjoy the conversations because I get to know people from other states.
Yeah.
And like I told you before the show, like I don't like talking to other contractors here. Like there's some good ones. There are some that I have, that I'm friends with. A couple that I can call on if I ever get stuck. But the ones you run into the supply house or on a job site, maybe there's a couple companies there. You start asking questions, and then they get offensive or defensive, however you want to call it.
Whichever way. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm better off just not even like talking to these people. But online, I've found a good community over on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube. That's mostly where I post. And I mean that's another thing I was going to bring up is I think your biggest platform is TikTok, right?
Yeah. Right now, I have my
So
biggest one is
that's
TikTok.
so that's where you guys can find her. Like I said, I'll put all the information in the description. Ash X Kills
Yeah.
is the username. I just assumed it was because you were killing it in HVAC, but
Hell yeah.
there you go. So yeah, I'm still new to the whole TikTok thing. But I found a lot of great people on there,
Hmm.
and I feel like there's so many. Like TikTok is kind of weird because like you can get lost in it,
Oh, yeah.
and all of a sudden you'll see like somebody who has a big following, and they never came out on your feed before, and you're like, I like
Hmm.
the content that they're putting out, right? Like
Yeah.
I see a lot of good residential installers, a lot of commercial guys. I've seen you. I've seen a lot of other. I don't know if I feel like I've seen more women on TikTok doing
Like
trades. So
tradeswomen. Yeah.
yes, like electricians, HVAC, plumbing, even. So it's a good mix over there.
Hmm.
I'm getting into it, and I'm starting to see more people in the
Yeah.
trades and the work that they put out. Like
Yeah, and then TikTok gets weird because, like, you'll look up something like, I was looking up, like, kitchen faucets, but then, like, I get 20 videos of kitchen faucets. I'm like, "Okay, I'm done with that, like, give me something else."
I know, like I follow quite a bit of people there, and I'm like, I have not seen any of the people that I follow anymore. It just picks up.
Yeah,
It picks
like,
up like whatever
other
you were
people
searching
searching,
or
yeah.
something.
I know, well, it's nice, I think now, I think they have, like, your For You section that you're looking for, and then, like, your Friends
Yes.
section, and then, like, a I don't know what
Oh
they
yeah.
added, that other, like,
I have to
science
remember.
section or
Yeah, I have to
something?
remember to go to the. I have to remember to go to the friends section because I'm like, that's where
Yeah.
all the people are.
Yeah, that's where you can just scroll through everyone's videos.
And how did you come to start content creation? Because like I feel like a lot of people are getting into it now, but what got you started? Like, did you just post your work one day or?
So, I had a different job before this. So I used
That was gonna be my
to,
next question.
yes. So I used to work and manage an aerospace company out here near me. And we'd get airplanes in all the time, different airplanes,
Oh,
big
okay.
airplanes, smaller airplanes. I'm not going to get into the numbers because everyone's going to be like, what the hell is that? Like 2-story airplanes, and like we dismantle them. So we take the engines off, the seats out, like gutted them, and then smash them and recycle them. So I started posting those because I'm like the only one out here watching all this. I'm like, I think this is super cool. So I started posting like my airplanes and like when they fly in, when they take off. I see jets, I see, all kinds of different ones. So I'm like, this is super cool. Like, let everyone else see like what I do, kind of thing. So it started there. And then from there, it just like blew up. And then I switched into HVAC, and I'm just like, okay, well, now you guys are going to get this.
Oh, okay. So you had more of the plane stuff before
Yes.
on there. Okay. I've only seen the HVAC stuff, so I was curious.
Oh, yeah. No,
Um,
you're good. I think most of them are really far down in there. So you're fine.
yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing with TikTok is like, or even Instagram, I guess. You got to scroll all the way down to start, getting into the older stuff.
Digging.
But
Yeah. And then you don't want to like it, though. You don't want to be like, oh, shit, I like something from 5 years ago.
yeah, I've seen some guys like on Instagram that are like, pretty big. They just start resharing like old stuff because like you'll never find it if you're looking for it, like tutorials and
Yeah.
stuff. So
I
I
know,
mean
that sucks
that's
too, because somebody will ask you like, "Oh, how do you do this?" And it's just like, "I just posted it like 2 videos ago, just scroll down."
yeah. I don't think TikTok, or maybe it's only for certain people, that you can do like playlists. I've seen it,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's available for everybody. I,
I
that
think
would be
I'm not
better.
sure like how many like numbers you need to be able to do it or
Yeah.
whatever. But sometimes that's a lot of work too, because it's like I'll do unboxings, but like one's a
Yeah.
backpack, one's shoes. So it's like, do I put them together, or do I do like workwear, like gear?
It's
Like it's
it's
hard.
it's whatever you feel like, I guess. Because I run my YouTube channel and I try to do that too, where I organize it and I'm just like, I don't know where to put it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just stick it here, put it in this playlist, like
Like just add
I-
in all of them.
just winging it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if I had another question there, but how long have you been in the trade? So you learned from your father-in-law,
Yes. Oh my
and
dear.
then how long have you been doing it?
4 years now.
Only 4 years. Dang.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you started young. Your dad's been in this for how long?
Well, I don't know how long he's been in it. He's been in it forever, but
Since you can
our
remember.
yes, when I was little, yes, but he was
Yeah.
an electrician, and then he
But you
doesn't do
still
H.
started catching on with it and everything, right?
Yeah, he doesn't do
Mhm.
HVAC. He does the cooking equipment.
Oh, okay.
So it's different but the same. Um, that's why we do the kitchen, or that's why I do kitchen refrigeration, because he's in the
Mhm.
kitchen working. He wanted a somebody to do cold side, because like honestly, like if we're there, we want to be the company that just stays
That's
there and does
everything.
everything. So we do the
Yeah.
AC, we'll do the coolers and freezers, and he'll do all the cooking equipment. When we do all the little odd end stuff too, like some little plumbing here and there, faucets, whatever it may be. Um,
Throw it all in.
so we try to be the all-in-one company, and that's kind of how that came
Yeah.
about. So
Okay.
our company has been open about 16 years now.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's kind of how long I've been doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said,
And
as soon as he started, you started too.
yes, but like I've had a lot of younger people on here, and that was going to be another point that I have written up here. But um, like you, 4 years in, I've had a bunch of guys. They're now part of a group called HVAC Visionaries, because they're trying to bring awareness to younger people
Mhm.
to get them in the trade, which I fully support. But those guys are all under 25, and they're like doing amazing installs, like stuff that I'm like, wow.
Like, I have to
The work
catch up.
I know. I was like, I thought I was good. No, I'm nowhere
It's like,
near
oh shit, my tape line isn't that straight.
no, they go above and beyond. They do a lot of great stuff. And then like even seeing you, I felt like you did this a little bit longer than 4 years, but you're doing really good too.
Oh, thank you.
So uh that's really great. And I feel like a lot of people now or that's one of the regrets I have, I guess. Like when I started, my headspace was not fully into it.
Mhm.
I wanted to get a check. I wanted to go home. I didn't take. I was good
But
at what I was good at what I did because I
it's that
fixed.
little extra, like, 2 seconds to do, like,
Yes,
something
and
just a little.
that's a good point because like I was good at what I did. I fixed like everything put in front of me. I made a lot of mistakes when I started.
Mhm.
Believe me, I burned holes through copper. I've burnt out boards. I've, you know, wired things in wrong all the time. Like it happened a lot. But I eventually fixed everything. Like I fixed stuff that other people couldn't fix and I felt really good about myself. But I did not take the extra time to tidy up, to put everything, to do it better. So, seeing like you and all these other guys that have it just a few years in is a really good indication of, where the trade is going. I hope that that's a good uh, way that it's going, that younger guys or younger people want to get into it and they take it seriously from the get-go.
Yeah.
That would be that'd be great to see.
Yeah. No, it is nice. Like, I think I try to show that too because I know sometimes, and it's so funny because, you'll put a video together and you leave something out, and everyone's like, why didn't you do this? I'm like, oh my gosh, I did. Just because it's not in the video doesn't mean I did it. But like, just adding those extra zip ties, cleaning up your cables, like that
Yeah.
just makes such a difference in like everything else.
Jennifer had to leave, but she said she'll follow you and finish watching the show later.
Oh, yay. Okay, bye.
Yeah, she has a newborn, so
Oh, yeah.
she has to attend to that.
To that.
That situation, not the kid.
That.
Uh, anyway, um, okay, so you've only been doing it 4 years. We got there, and then were you okay? So did you actually work on planes before, like mechanically, or
Yes, enough to know where everything's at and how to take it apart and put it back together. Yes.
okay? So before you started HVAC, you were mechanically inclined. You could
Yes.
use tools and all that.
Yeah.
Uh, have you always been like that? Because like some people get into it later in life. Some people are like as kids, like
Mhm.
myself. I used to take things apart and put them back together. I used to fix things when I was younger. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like where the interest came from. But before the plane situation or that job, did you do anything before that, or did it
Um,
start there?
Before that has been like retail stuff. My dad's a general contractor.
Okay,
So he's had his own company before ever since like I was little. Like he's always done that. So I've always I know how to put up drywall. I know how to like fix a hole. I know how to like run electrical. I can do plumbing. Like I'm well versed in everything just because of him.
so you're all around it basically. So
Yeah.
your dad was a general contractor, right?
Yes.
And you had some knowledge and some skill, and then you learned even more from your
Yes.
father-in-law.
Yes,
That's
more
awesome.
like I guess more in detail, right? Cuz like as a general like you know
Yeah,
how to do something, but not to a certain extent because you just know the end product kind of thing. And then when you
sure.
start getting into like all plumbing, then it's like, oh, you start learning like the tiny little details to get to like to the rest of it. But like as a general knowledge towards everything, yeah.
And that's one of the points that I had because I was going to bring up, the kids that are interested. I hope that they, get into the trades if it's something that they want to do. They see some people are born into it, like their dads do it, which is some of the people that I talk to, either they're around it because of their family, or it's like a happy accident, right? There's no like even myself, I didn't, even though my dad did it, I didn't want to be an electrician really.
Mhm.
So it was a different trade. I didn't know about
Yeah.
HVAC. So had I been informed earlier, whether that's through school, through more like the career day stuff, or, when they push it, because they push, or I don't know how it is now, but they used to push college a lot, like towards the end
Mhm.
of your high school and stuff. If they would just tell people, there's trades or skilled trades, that would be great. That way they can, if they know how to use tools, if they're curious about, I was always like taking things apart, putting them back
Mhm.
together. And I wish I would have known about it sooner. So, that's
I
a big
know.
thing that I always
Yeah.
talk about. Like, I wish I would have known about it sooner.
And yeah, same with me when I was in high school and stuff. Like they pushed us, oh, go to college, but they're not like, what do I do in college?
Yeah,
Like they're just like, yeah, go take classes, go start. Like you need to do this, and it's just like, okay, but what is there to do? Like that's it? Just like your associates, your bachelor's, like in what? But I've seen more and more lately, especially like around my area with the community college and stuff, like they've been posting like, hey, come learn like a little bit about electrical. See if you like it, like free workshops and stuff. So I think that's
that's
been really
great.
cool.
That's great. I've seen a little bit of that too, and I hope that that's, you know, more like people are more aware of it, or kids are more aware of it.
Hmm.
Because even if you don't do HVAC when you're older, or that's not what you want to do, or whatever trade it is that you learned, these are skills that you can learn, and you can learn how to use tools. You can learn how to be handy. I saw that you were doing like renovations or something
Oh my
too,
gosh, yes.
but you can do it because
Oh.
you have that kind of skill, and you can do it yourself.
Yes, my whole family has been in this. So like, my mom, my brother, my other brother, my dad, like we've all just like gone into this. Like we bought a mobile home, so we completely gutted it out and we're
Yeah,
laying down flooring, fixing the cabinets, fixing, the paint, the electrical, like the plumbing, like putting in new sinks, new everything. But it's nice because, my mom knows how to do it. My brothers know how to do it. My dad, like, he has that knowledge in it. So we're all learning. So when we do the next one, like only the kids go and do it. It's just like, yeah, thanks, dad.
and that's the thing. Like, even with my kids, even if they don't want to do this, that's fine. If they have a better future, that's good. But I would like to at least
Teach
teach
them.
them some skills, right? That
Yeah.
they won't be in a situation where they can't do anything, like changing a flat tire,
Yeah.
fixing plugs, electrical stuff around the house, like you said,
Little things.
drywall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are
Patching a
skills.
hole. You
Yeah,
never know
it
when they're going to
happens.
punch one.
It happens. Uh, all those are really valuable. So, like, even if you don't get into the trade, those are skills that you should really learn.
Yes. I definitely encourage always learning at least your basics. Don't go to college. Somebody asked how old I am. I haven't said how old I am. I'm 30.
Well, that's not a question that I normally ask, but
Oh, it's okay. I don't mind.
okay.
I am 30 years young.
Yeah, I've had people that ask me all the time, like, is it too late to do
Mm-mm.
HVAC? Is it too late to do a trade? Because they'll be like 30, 40. Like, the youngest one was 30, and I'm like, dude, you're like still super young.
Yeah.
But 40, 50, and I'm like, if you're looking for like a good future with steady pay, like, you can do
You're
this
good.
at any
Yeah.
at any age.
Oh, and my women's group. So I help run and
Yes.
manage women in Pioneer Women.
Hmm.
Pioneer Women. I
Yeah,
forget which way
we
they have
we
the name.
had
I'll add it
women
later.
women's
Women,
pioneer, I think.
yeah.
Women's a pioneer.
Of
I'm
Pioneer,
messing it up.
yeah, no, it's okay. I totally like they have it such like in a weird way, like you say it like one way or another. But we
Yeah.
have girls in there that are 18, 19 years old, like going into school for it, asking advice. So like we always encourage anybody that wants to join like our little page, like to just go ahead and get in there. We have a chat where we all talk about whatever we need, and every other week we'll have a Zoom meeting and we'll all get together and like just kick the bucket.
Yeah, and I had Viola. She said she
Mhm.
was the youngest member now. So
Yes, we just
that's
had
that's
her
awesome.
added. Yes.
And is that's on Instagram, right? Or do they post anywhere else?
We have Instagram, Facebook, and then the WhatsApp chat is where we kind of like all get together too.
Well, yes, if any
Yeah.
young women are listening or watching, I'll leave that one too in the description. That way they can find that page
Yeah,
and
thanks.
give it a follow and support.
Thank you.
That's a fairly new group too, isn't it?
Yes, we just started, I want to say a couple months ago now. And it's not just HVAC, it's
Okay,
anybody in a career field or
a
trades
trade.
field. Yeah. So we have drill workers, we have alarm system people, plumbers, electricians, Gosh, it's a little bit of everything. A farm worker, like just everyone and everything.
Did you? But did you help start that?
So the main girls that started, Liana and Leanna. Their names,
Okay.
their names are spelled exactly the same, but you say it differently. But I helped them run it. But Leanna is the one that started it, and then I help manage that group for them.
Oh, that's awesome. I did follow them on Instagram. I've seen their posts. It's just great. I fully support anything bringing women into the trade, but just in general, like younger generation
Yeah.
kids, because like I said, I didn't know about this trade. If I would have known about it sooner, probably would have hopped on it a little bit quicker and gotten my stuff together. And
Oh, it's okay. It all happens when it does, right?
yeah, I mean, here
Yeah.
we are now. We run a family business. We do really well. I'm very happy with it, and I know it's not for everybody. The HVAC trade is demanding sometimes. You're out in the sun all the time. Well, not all the time, but a lot of the time. And
99.99% of the time. Or in a hot ass attic.
I don't do addicts, but
Uh,
you can have those.
thanks.
Let's see. I'm probably gonna go through the chat right now. I probably missed a whole bunch.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Let's see.
I don't have my glasses on, so I have to squint down there.
HVAC. You Ash, you're killing it.
Adrian, you
Let's
too.
see. Okay, you answered this one. C. Young was an electrician for 3 years and found it boring. I don't know. Something about HVAC is what drew me into it, like the refrigeration side and just being in front of different equipment every day and just like every call because you see something different every time.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. Every call you do is a different system.
Another comment. My dad was an electrician too, and I found that boring. I don't know. I guess that's a common thing.
With electricians. I guess because you're stuck with one thing, right? Like running electricals all day long.
Like I don't know. Like what's gonna happen? You're just running, like you
More
said,
electricity. Yeah.
yeah. Matt Waxter, who is HVAC doctor. Are we gonna see Ash post the HVAC nights pose? I don't know if she wants to.
What is that?
That's another. I guess it's like another podcast I'm starting with a group of guys.
Okay.
To kind of just bring more awareness. Just try to talk about HVAC more, but we have this the
Oh,
logo.
who
The
did you
logo
just
is
post that?
yeah. The logo is like
Yeah.
a knight holding a tank with gauges, and I told everybody I want to see some HVAC night poses, and they're bringing them in. Matt there sent his in. It was awesome. So I appreciate you guys.
I
Let's
think you just
see.
posted it on your story today. I know there was somebody. Was it his?
I had a few. I don't remember who. Oh, it was Roger from that guy's from TikTok.
Yeah, yeah, Mr.
Mr.
Roger.
Rogers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw his. I was like, oh, that's cute. But you have to
Let's
put a
see.
tiara on mine.
Let's see. Let me go through the chat real quick.
Yeah.
See if I have any questions that pulled up. I'm probably like super behind, so
I got shocked by 208. Does that count towards being an electrician? Yes, it does. No,
I
you know
hate
how it
that. That's the
feels.
one thing I hate about it is I've been shocked way too many times. So now I'm like super cautious. I'm like triple checking because
Mhm.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah, he's just like, oh. I told my girls one time because on our chat and stuff, I was like, that's how I wake up. I shove a fork into a socket. That's my coffee.
Oh yeah, it'll wake you up.
Yeah.
I've had that one. I've had that one before. Like that early morning, you get shocked. And you're like, I'm good for the day.
But yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I don't need an energy drink or anything now.
So, would you recommend this trade to younger generations and women specifically? Like, I don't know if you've had any, because I know you said you worked for your father-in-law
Mhm.
and to an extent your dad. Is there any obstacles that you've had to overcome or any issues you see with being a woman in the trade?
So, yes and no. So because I'm already in the field, I get job offers because they see what I do. But
Okay.
I think if I would have started out differently and like gone to school, my area is very, very known for like not taking in new people. You
Mm.
have to have 3 years plus experience to get in, kind of thing. So it's hard. It's hard to tell somebody like, yeah, go to school, get in it. Like you'll find something. And it's just like you might not. Like I really feel like with anything else too, it's about knowing people and knowing your ways to get in sometimes.
Yeah, I mean that happens everywhere to an
Mhm.
extent because I've had people ask me about like getting jobs and stuff. Like sometimes it's who you know, but um, eventually,
Sometimes you get lucky too,
yeah,
yeah.
eventually, if you're stubborn about it and you call around enough times, you'll get
Mhm.
that phone call and interview. So
Yeah.
and then like how is it? Because I've had several women on here already. One had a horrible experience because they're dealing with a whole uh issue at work with harassment and stuff. So that we've had that discussion before. But I've had a most of them say like they show up to a job and then they're like, they don't get taken seriously. Is that an issue that
Mm.
you have? I think I've seen you post about that.
Yeah, so sometimes, and, funny enough, it's, like, the older women that give me a hard time,
Really?
and you wouldn't think so because it's, like, another
Yeah.
woman that I'm going to, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just, like, it's the area that I work in, but it'll be the older women, I'll call them, like, schedule them and go over everything with them, and they'll be like, "You know what you're doing, though?" I'm like, I wouldn't be calling you and asking you all this if I didn't know what I was doing. And they'll be like, but you know exactly what to fix and how to like call out anything that needs to be fixed. I'm like, dude, like yes or no? Like I can schedule you like a with somebody else. Like it'll be like a week apart. Like I don't
Yeah.
care. Like you handle whatever you need to handle. Um, the older men have been nice. They're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. My wife would never do this. I'm like, yeah, okay, awesome. The younger generation has been nice about it too. Every so often, I'll get, a snarky person, and I'm like, all right, peace out. I'm out. Handle it your own.
How has that been like I know TikTok can be brutal. Have you run into that over there?
Yes, I seriously just ignore everyone because no matter what you do, you're doing it wrong.
Yes, and like I used to. Well, I started more on YouTube, and I used to get like all those comments like every day, and I used to try and answer each and every one of them. Uh, I would get into little arguments, and I'm like, "Is this even worth it?" Then I had other people that had been doing it for a while, like whether it was YouTube or Instagram, and they're like, "You kind of should probably start or stop looking at all the comments. Like they're gonna be there no matter
Yeah.
what."
Mhm.
So that's another thing. If I get asked a lot, like if they should start posting content on
You
any
have to
platform,
have thick skin for it.
and yes, you have to just if you want to do it, you do it, but you're gonna have to ignore a lot of people, a lot of
Nasty.
comments,
Yeah. Nasty
and
comments.
yeah, I've had the whole like racist stuff. I've had
Oh,
to deal
yeah.
with a lot of it,
Oh, I get it all the
and
time. Like, I don't want a woman fixing it. A man can do it better. Go for it.
so yeah, if you want to do it, just keep that in mind. But I don't know. Lately, I feel like I've had a better experience. I don't know if you've had good experiences on Instagram.
It depends on the video.
It depends.
It depends on the videos. Sometimes it does. Like, it depends on what audience it kinda catches. So, like, one video will do really nice with, like, super nice comments, and then the next one will be like, "Oh, you're not doing this right. It's not to code, blah, blah, blah." Like, it's not to your code. Doesn't mean it's not to my code. Like, every section has their own coding and
every
ways to
every
do things.
city, every
Every
city,
city.
every state. Yes,
Yeah. Just because 'cause you're in California too, doesn't mean your code is the same as my code either. Like, LA is different than us too. Like, it's just funny.
exactly. Oh, we got Jeff's HVAC adventures in the house. Worst I ever got hit was not even at work. A vacuum cleaner had a crack in the cord, and they pull a ton of amps.
Oh my
I
god.
feel I feel like sometimes we get hurt more. after work
At
than during
home,
work.
yeah.
Because my dad just had that issue. He gets hurt a lot outside of work. He had something with his dog and tripped him up,
Oh my
hurt his
gosh.
rib, hurt his ribs, and he was out for a couple days. So I was like, only after work does that happen.
Right, not during work to claim it.
Let's see. Don't know.
Who's doing all
Whoa,
the dad jokes, Brian? My son had a shocking experience. Now he's grounded.
Brian. I don't know that I've come across her
Um,
videos. Well, she's on TikTok, Instagram. I'll post all that stuff in the description, like I said. Uh, MAMR was just checking out some of your videos on Instagram.
oh, thank you.
Let me see. What other questions do I have before? I don't want to keep you too long. We've been here an hour, so let
I got a
me.
beer. I'm good.
Yeah, like there was a kid that I want to get him on my show. He's like probably no or not that much older than my son. My son is about to turn 10,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I've seen this kid posting HVAC videos, and he does like a lot
Stop.
of. I see he's done a lot of like simulator stuff, and he's like, well, today we're gonna check this, and he's like, well, this is not working, so I'm gonna check for voltage here, and I'm like,
That's
wow, and
so cute.
he's super young, and I was like, he's over on TikTok. I think his username is just HVAC kid. Um, I sent him a message. I hope he comes on the show soon because I don't know how some of these kids do it. Like I'm thinking like 20-year-olds, but like him
I know,
at
right?
half that age.
And then, like, how did
Uh,
he start? Like, what got him into it, kind of thing. That's always cool.
yeah, because I was not thinking about. I was thinking about like video games and sports at that age, or
Right? I don't even know what I was doing at 10.
Brian. Beer makes everything better.
Yes, cheers.
Do you have any advice for like anybody coming into the trade? That's something that I get asked a lot of. I don't know if you want to direct it towards women or just kids coming into the trade.
I think for anybody that's trying to get started or trying to get into this, honestly, just videos, learning off of everybody else. It really gets like that knowledge into you, or like knowing what tool does what. That's always
Yeah,
good too, because somebody's gonna ask you for a pair of strippers, and you're gonna be like, "What am I looking for?"
that's one of the first things you need to do as a helper is start learning the tools and when they need them and all that.
Yeah, like you got to be ready. Like, they're changing a cap, like grab everything you need for like a cap, a contactor, grab everything you need for a contactor. Like it's it's always good to start as a helper, especially if you know that
Yeah,
company will promote you. The more you learn and feed off of somebody that you're helping will definitely help you, of course, in the long run.
and learning on the job.
Hmm.
Just get out there and do it. Uh, and like you said, just like you got to pay attention to what your whoever's teaching you the tech, like what they're doing and why they're doing it,
Hmm.
and then ask questions. I always say you might not need to ask them right at that moment. They might be having a hard time, frustrated, whatever it may be. You can always ask after too,
Yeah.
but ask plenty of questions. There's no excuse. There's YouTube. You can find anything
Mhm.
you want to. Plenty
Yeah, the
of
internet is well versed.
plenty of instructors are now on here teaching HVAC basically.
Hmm. And I have plenty of people that ask me questions. It takes me like 2 or 3 days to get to your message, but I will respond if you're stuck on something too and you want help on anything too. But I always tell everyone too, ABC, air before charge. It's
Oh
always
yeah,
a good
that
one.
like you should never be checking the charge
Mm-mm.
right when you get to a unit. Like it's always going to be something else.
Yeah. Oh, my unit's always low on charge. Yeah. Okay. When was the
Oh
last time I
well,
changed your air filter?
I do commercials, so we did have a
Yours is
customer.
different. Yeah.
We did have a customer that was like, I'm getting tired of this other company charging us for refrigerant every month, and they never found a leak or anything. So I get there and I have to rip out pressure switches and all this other stuff that was leaking, and finally fix it. And that's how we got the work because they were
Mhm.
paying for refrigerant every month.
But refrigerant.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it was leaking. I don't know what they were charging them, but it happens.
Yeah. I'll get those too. Everybody will be like, well, what's a good company to like look out for? I'm like, you honestly, it's not the company, it's the technician. Sometimes it's just the technician.
Yeah, and I was gonna have a conversation with or want to with somebody or some group about like because we get painted in a bad picture too because of companies like that want to go in and just charge for an imaginary repair or
Hmm.
overcharge or whatever it may be. And then that's another thing that I've been seeing on like I've been seeing it more on Instagram now because I try to post like funny memes and stuff and
Hmm.
people take it too serious and they're like, oh, that's why HVAC is a scam or we're all like crooks and stuff. And I'm like, well, it depends on the tech.
Yeah.
It's always gonna depend on the tech and how they conduct their business. So
Yes. Like charging, what was it? I've seen them all the time. It's like $350 to change AAA batteries on a thermostat.
yeah, like also like 750 to do a capacitor or something like.
Hmm.
And I understand there's fixed rates, but like if I've heard because in the comments I read them that they get charged like over 1,000, 2,000 for a capacitor, and I'm like, well, okay, well that I can't defend.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the area. Honestly, those companies know their area and their market range
Oh
they can
yeah,
do, and everybody talks. I talk to 5 different companies that are in my area. We all have like our same like base numbers, so none of us are too high or too low from each other. So if somebody comes in over the price that we all kind of like agree on, that and if they agree to it, can't really do anything at that point.
no, and like somebody asked me recently about my prices, right? I'm like, well, I'm in Texas, I'm in a low cost area. But he's like, well, no, it's because they some company where he's at. I forgot where he was at. He's like authorized manufacturer company, whatever, for an espresso machine was like it was 1,200 just to show up. I was like, okay, well that's probably like a high end area or something. I don't know about that.
Yeah, but it just depends.
I think that was a
Just
question
depends.
about DeWalt or Milwaukee for you.
I use Milwaukee. And if I
Okay,
don't use Milwaukee, my next one is Rigid.
uh,
My dad is DeWalt, but I see the way
my
he
dad,
uses his things and breaks everything. So
yeah, my dad is DeWalt too, and I'm getting him over to Milwaukee now.
he's slowly like getting like a tool or two, or like my backpack, my Vito bag. He's just like, that's really cool. I'm like, yeah, it keeps everything organized. He's like, I don't know where you learned that from because it wasn't for me. He has everything everywhere. I'm like, yeah, you get a backpack next.
Yeah, Brian, you were right. He guessed Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
That's yeah, I forgot about that. You have the Vito. You have a backpack. What do you
Yes.
run most of your calls out of that backpack?
Yes. So I have it set up to do heat and AC calls.
Okay.
So everything's in there. And everyone tells me like, "Oh, you should condense and carry a little tiny thing like what is it? A screwdriver or an 11 in 1, your meter and your gun. That's all you need for like a condenser call." I'm like, "Yeah, that's all you need to like diagnose it." But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're still running back and forth. I'm like, I at least have everything except the cap. But if I know the square footage of the house or I go up to a certain house, I already have an idea of like, that's going to be a 30. I'll just take one with me. So I'll take
Oh, okay.
a 30, a 40, and a 20 with me. And 9 out of 10, I don't have to walk back to my van.
Yeah, and I used to be like that because I like the backpacks. I've always been a fan of like different backpacks. Now, until I found Vito, I was ripping them like crazy. So
Hmm.
I've had other ones that the straps just rip off.
Hmm.
So I switched over to Vito. I got their backpack. Now I'm on roofs a lot, and I'm in like these weird areas where I got to go through 2 levels and like
Hmm.
different kinds of ladders and stuff. So I do carry a lighter, like a troubleshooting bag, basically, where it's like
Yeah.
most of the basics. If I need to do like simple repairs, I can do it with that. But and then I got my big backpack for like the
Your
heavier
whole thing.
projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Vito's been really great in my opinion.
Yeah. I haven't
Uh,
broke my straps yet.
yeah, like
I use that
I
thing
did that.
every day.
I did that like twice, and I was like, okay, I gotta
Yeah,
find another
something.
brand.
Yeah, they've been super good.
Someone's
All the way.
someone wants a backpack loadout. Did you do one
I do
yet?
have one on my page.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think I have it on Instagram and TikTok. I do have one.
All
I need
right.
to do another one.
Well, there you go, Eddie. She has one
Yes,
already, but maybe she'll do another one.
maybe. Maybe I bought a
What
new
kind of
bag.
what kind of gauges do you got?
I have just regular analog ones. Nothing fancy. I think it's Yellow Jacket.
You don't want to switch over like to digital or probes or anything?
I have Testo digital ones, but I hardly ever use them.
Oh, you don't?
I don't charge, I don't recharge, I don't add refrigerant often enough to like
Or
have
check?
to carry. Yeah, I don't need to check. I check my Delta and my Delta's good. Everything else is fine.
Yeah, most of the time, like, well, I guess I have to top it off sometimes if that's what the customer wants, just to
Hmm.
get them by, and then we'll get in there with a new coil or equipment or whatever. But I like the field piece probes. That's the one that I have.
Okay. Yeah, I see everyone
So
use
I
those.
just throw them in the bag, and they're always there.
Hmm. Field piece or Testo? Testo.
I don't have good things to say about Testo, but let's see. I had them.
I just have the gauges and that's it. And they work when I need them to work, so they're fine.
Is it the manifold
It's the little
or the
like
probes?
yeah. No, it's the
Oh, okay.
manifold. Yeah.
That I will give them. They did figure out how to make it like super compact,
Yeah, they're
and
super tiny. It's like only
it's
like
small. Yeah.
yeah. Besides my stupid hoses, those are what's long. I love my little Vito.
They're asking you if you'll be at AHR. I don't know if you know about AHR. Do you?
I do
The
not.
expo. That's the one. It's every year, but it changes cities. So
Okay.
the next one is in Chicago. I've been to a couple. I barely found out about it. It's just like where everybody in HVAC meets up,
Kind of goes. Okay.
and you get to see all the fancy tools. They have a lot of competitions. It's
Okay.
a really good time. So
No, but I will be at the what was I saying earlier? I guess it's
I don't.
called Go Bold Women in HVAC. It's a HVAC women's thing in Florida next month.
There's a lot of them that go to Florida. There's a Central Therm one, and there is a Symposium. I think that one's by Brian Orr, the HVAC school. And there's a whole bunch of them. If you guys can make it out to any of them, it's a good time. You get to see people from all over the nation. I've even seen people from other parts of the world, and
Yeah.
they do HVAC, and they are like super, uh, happy to be in the trade, and you
Hmm.
can tell.
And if you see me anywhere, just say hi. That I always have resting bitch face, but it's fine.
Jonathan, I don't. Are you? I haven't been to Johnston in a while actually. I'm transferring over to a new van, so I've been trying to like finish that and then squeeze in some calls here and there. But I'm always at Johnstone, Jonathan.
Field
Let's
piece,
see.
field piece.
Well, Brian has a Testos, and he's trying to get the field piece wireless probes. That's the way to go.
Just sell them. Somebody will buy them.
Yeah, that's what I did with the Testos. I bought them. I had them for a little while, and I was like, oh, I'll just put them for sale, and they sold really quick.
Yeah.
Let me see. I don't think I had any other questions on my little board here.
Oh, let me see my Instagram ones.
Oh yeah, if you have anything else that we can talk about real quick before we get off. We've been on here a little bit over an hour.
I know. Okay, hold on.
If anyone lives in Houston, Dakin has free inverter training. I'll be in Houston in a week, but for a different training thing.
Luckily, my supply houses around me do like little seminars every now and then, so it's nice.
Yeah, we would do the ice machine ones and the different manufacturers that come
Yeah.
down.
Oh, this one's a fun one. Favorite food to eat on the job?
It's kind of hard to watch what you eat on the job. I will say that.
Yes. Unless I pack my lunch, if I'm not tired from like the previous day. Honestly, it's like a Red Bull and like a candy bar, and I'll just go.
I know. Yeah, because it's really hard not to get like fast food all the time, and
Hmm.
I've been trying to pack food, but you know how that goes.
Yeah. Or if I do get fast food, I try to get like a more mom and pop shop. So it's like more like homemade food.
Yeah,
Try to feel better about it. Somebody asked if I'm drinking a monster. Are you drinking a monster?
I'm not.
I'm not. I'm drinking beer.
Yeah, Brian, it's a beer.
It's beer. Does it look like a monster? I guess it kind of does. Let's see. I think we went over most of these. What got you into HVAC? We went over that. Literally being a female in the trade and whatever advice you can give. Kind of go over that already. Do. Somebody, just a random one. Thoughts on Linux communicating systems. Do you go through a lot of Linux stuff?
No, in the commercial we only see like train and carrier. Uh, I ran into a Linux. Well, I've done Linux like the Prodigy systems, and you know I only do RTUs, but there was one. I think it was called Commercial Ally or something like that. It's by Linux. That was like really, it was really horrible. All the lines were interconnected. I think it was like a heat pump, but it
Oh,
had like several compressors.
yeah.
And I opened it up and there's just copper lines everywhere.
And
And
you're
they were
like,
all,
I'm just gonna close it back up. Like it's
well,
working.
the one that I was called to was it was empty. Like it
Oh,
leaked out. And I looked and all the lines were touching, so they rubbed out. And then I was like, okay, let me look at the other ones. And then all of them were like about to rub out. So I had to go
mm.
in there and kind of
And
bend them
just kind
out.
of, yeah, pull them apart from each other.
And I was like, man, so I'm not a big fan of those, but we mostly deal with train, and I think I'm starting to see exclusively like carrier down here now.
Okay. So my area is kind of everything. We don't really run into like higher end systems. Train hardly ever. Linux, I think I ran into maybe two. And then one of them I just had to like retrofit the whole thing for it to work. Cause I don't know if, like in your area too, because I know you mostly do commercial, but like for residential Linux, they lock their systems. So
Oh,
like
I didn't know that.
only a Linux authorized dealer is able to like they have to hook up their little iPad like to the thermostat with their little wire, like get into it with their passcode and everything. So I'm like, all right, we gotta take the thermostat out, replace
Yeah,
that. I have to change the circuit board and your condenser because it won't work with what I'm doing. Like I just have to like completely gut it out and like have it technically start over for it to work.
I hate when they do stuff like that, but like we have some new buildings going up because I do like these fast food chains, right? So like they're building more here. So like the couple of buildings that they're putting up, you know, we don't do new construction, so we don't put the equipment in or anything like that. So it gets put up and then we service them.
Okay.
But we're putting in trains at these, and they have a communicating system too, to where I'm locked out of like certain
Hmm.
things. So then I'm like, well, if I ever have to do anything major, I'm gonna have to replace, you know, quite a bit of things on here just so I can get through it. But you know,
Yeah.
I don't like that kind of stuff either.
I know. It kind of sucks for us. It's just like you have to get an authorized Linux dealer to go. I'm
Yeah.
like, we technically all are. Just give me my little iPad and I could go.
Yeah, Total Tech. Removing. You got to remove that propriety
Yeah.
junk. Let's see.
They're talking about beers now.
Oh yeah, they're asking. Well, there are
Craft
a couple
beer.
questions.
I don't really do IPAs. If I do, it's like fruity ones because I don't like dark IPAs. I'll drink them,
Gotcha.
but like it's not my main thing. I'm right now it's an ultra, just whatever I have, or Heineken's.
And then Juan, favorite meter. I think I've seen the one that you use.
So I use the what is it even called? I only got it because it's black.
Isn't it the UEI one?
Yeah. I got it because I started looking at them like I like dark, everything dark. My backpack's blacked
Yeah.
out. So I was looking for a black electrical meter. I'm like, who the hell's gonna sell one? Like I'm gonna have to spray paint it and like take it apart. And so UEI had their like 50th anniversary meter that's blacked out.
Yeah.
I did have problems with it. I had my amp meter go out on it, but They were really nice. Their customer service was really super. They saw that it was
Oh,
under
okay.
the year. I sent it. They couldn't fix it. They sent me a replacement. It's the same exact one. So that was super cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember seeing that one and I wanted it too, just because it was blacked out. Because
Yes.
I'm the same way with the Vitos. I have all the blackout versions of them.
Yeah.
So um, I have a field piece. I'm particular on field piece, um, but they are bright yellow.
Yes. Maybe you can take it apart and spray paint it too.
And somebody mentioned Fluke. My dad's a Fluke
Oh
guy, so
gosh. Yeah. Everyone is about Fluke. I think they're overrated, but they are nice. But my UEI does what your Fluke does, besides what Wi-Fi. I don't need
because what are
Wi-Fi.
yeah, I was like, what are we checking? Capacitors, voltage,
Mhm.
uh,
It's
a
nothing
few
too
other things.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of van do you rock?
I have a Ford E450, I think it is. It's a
Okay.
creeper van. Maybe it's the
I know.
250.
Do you have it lettered or anything,
Yeah,
or
it's
is it just
wrapped in the
white?
company logo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
No,
it
because
doesn't look like a creeper van.
I hate when I switch vans, because every time I switch
It's all
to a new,
white.
yes, and it's like that for a few weeks, and I'm like, damn it, I got to get it
Like,
wrapped.
nobody look at me.
And then I've had to take my kid to school or pick him up, and I'm like, oh, I feel horrible
Oh,
going into
right.
a school like that. But
As long as you don't have like your puppy or anything in the van or like ice cream, like you're good.
yeah, let's see. I think that
Somebody
was
has a
it.
field piece, but they have Fluke. UEI is a backup throwaway.
Redfish.
My UEI was expensive. Redfish meter. Redfish. I haven't seen that one.
I think that's the one by Subco. It
Oh,
looks
okay.
like the. I think it looks like the U. No, it looks like a mix of like the Fluke and the UEI.
Oh, okay. They kind of like mesh them together. Free
Yes.
candy.
Yeah, now I'm talking about candy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna wrap it up. If you guys want to follow her, I will leave her information. You can find her at Ash X Kills on TikTok, Instagram. I don't know if you have any other platforms that you
YouTube.
post on.
I think that's it. Oh, I don't
You
post on
have you?
YouTube that often, but yeah, it's
Oh
on
no.
there.
Okay. So if you guys want to find her, I'll leave all that in there. Any last words before we sign off?
Oh, good. Keep drinking.
All
Cheers.
right. All right. I'm gonna cue the outro music. If you need to hop off, you can hop off.
Good. It was nice meeting you. Thank you, everyone, for
Yeah.
joining in.
I appreciate you for making the time to come on the show. I
Yeah,
know
of
it's like
course.
an
Thank you for having
odd
me.
time.
No, you're fine.
All right. I'll see
All
you
right.
guys.
Bye.